All right, all right. Oh, I got to turn that light off. All right. Come out of the dark, Dominic. All right, here we go. Let's see. More light, more light, more light. Yeah, there we go. All right, all right, all right. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute. Make sure you log into Trailhead. We're going to pick up with the very last module that where we left off. Hi, welcome. Who is with us today? Gil Brom.
Hello.
Over to the call. Those little video clips are good, man. Was that easy for you to do?
Relatively easy. It still takes a little, it was super easy. Still takes a little bit of time.
It takes time to figure out where to cut and paste, right? And all that stuff. That's all right, Gil.
So I actually had to watch you. So again,
good training. All right, got our badges. Let's see where we left off. I got to pick up where I left off every time. Welcome, join in, come on in. We got a new Matt Nelson. Hey, welcome, Matt. I didn't know you were going to be here.
Hi, Don.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, just a minute. Is that? Oh, Raj, welcome to the call. Raj, you can introduce yourself to the rest of the team. Raj is somebody I met during Salesforce Saturday. And tell everybody, while I'm getting set up, Raj, and getting everything kind of put together, kind of tell everybody what can you see my screen yet? Hang on a second. Say hello to everybody. Tell us why you're here and what you like about Salesforce so far.
So I met Dominic at the Salesforce Saturday a couple weeks ago, and I'm just kind of getting started with the Salesforce system, looking into getting.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, Jules, welcome to the call. So, Raj, you're just getting started with Salesforce. I met you at Salesforce Saturday. Welcome.
Hey, Raj.
Hello.
We are going to. I'm gonna shoot all this stuff in here. So hang on a second. We're gonna finish up. I created a lot of trail mixes and then I messed it up a little, but that's all right. So where we're let me get back to this. Let me get back to this one. Because I have suggestions. I know it says phase 2 and we're just finished like the first. Officially, I think hold on a second. Let me see what the calendar says. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we finished 4 weeks. We finished 4 weeks of a 16-week program, but we have a lot to cover. So anyway, I'm going to put in chat real quick. This is the trail we're completing right now, and then we're going to go into the module of the Salesforce mobile app customization. Now, Raj and anybody else that might be behind, I know you're like, Dominic, it's a broken record. You keep saying you're going to update your sales and technology website with the classes, and I'm getting there, but I've had some technical challenges that are going to take me more time to get it done, and I apologize for that. But the good news is, our marketing, so let me share with Raj my vision again with everybody else as well. So I'm creating an army of part-time consultants to deliver enterprise-grade consulting services at part-timer prices. So for you guys, it provides a training ground to apply what you're learning here. Once you get closer, once you get through the basics of some of the stuff that we're doing, and you get closer to, and Jules, this is for you too, Julia, because it's kind of another little pickle, if you will, that when clients aren't going to need to bill enough to even satisfy the kind of thing we did at Computer Futures together, then it's even smaller little packages than as goes for that. And I can tell you right now, I'm building my funnel. Link takes a 404. Oh, you might have to log into Trailhead first. So if it took you to a 404, Matt, Or hang on. I'm in with, hang on a second, because I might, thank you for that. It's good, all good feedback, right? Let me make sure this, I share, maybe, I don't know if I made it public or not. Nope, that's why.
Mine went to 404 and then it went from there to Trailhead
Yeah, I know.
on its own.
So let me put a new link in there. It's the same link, but I just made it public. So I didn't have it public. That's how new this thing is. So what I'm saying to you is I'm working to build a sales funnel to get a steady source of leads for the Essentials edition, which is the small business edition of Salesforce. Yep. And I sold 2 today. So as you hang with me and you become one of our sales and technology consultants, you'll graduate from a SuperUser student to a junior consultant, and we'll put you to work part-time. And it probably takes 5 to 10 hours to set up each one of these customers. And you'll make a couple $100 every time you do it, and you'll learn a little more, and then you'll help, and that'll grow you into dealing with customers. It's going to train you to be a consultant, because my story is this. I got rejected 3 times last year to be hired as a consultant. So I said, screw it, I'm going to start my own partnership and be my own consultant, which is what I'm doing now. And it's hopefully training you to do the same. So that's my little story about what we're doing. And, but if you're on the path just to get certified in this class, that's fine too. But being certified as an admin will make you eligible to be a junior consultant with us. And I'm working on a couple of projects that will actually, you should be able to earn some money while you're a student. And if you're interested in that, then for sure you will be happy with it. So we're in what looks like phase 2. We're going to go through the Salesforce mobile app customization, which will be the next link that I'll put in here. Whoops. I got click happy. And so this content is really a bit of a rehash from the module we completed before. And again, these trails are a new way that I'm teaching this particular class. I've taught this class for 4.5 years now with Salesforce and other people. And I'm not following their methodology. I'm following the Trailhead methodology. And I think, okay, hopefully that, you should be in the same one. Okay, so, hey, we're gonna get through this together. We're gonna get through all of it, a little bit at a time, little by little, like my jujitsu instructor said. So this one's gonna be more about customizing the Lightning app, but taking what we did last time in contact layouts and seeing how it applies to the mobile experience. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you or one of your customers is deciding, or one of your connections, right, is deciding on whether or not to choose Salesforce, and they say anything about mobile, the answer is Salesforce. Should I use Zoho, or should I use Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign? I'm like, are you mobile? Do you want to run your business? Mark Benioff runs a $13.5 billion business from his smartphone. Okay, are you running a $13.5 billion business from your smartphone? Well, with Salesforce you can, and we'll talk about how to customize that experience in this. Start touching on how things show up. Remember, Salesforce is all about providing people the access to information of what they need to see so that they can do what they need to do to do their job. Now, so does anybody have any questions before we jump right in to get started? All right, super duper. So this will take us yeah, question, go ahead. Did somebody have something to say? Okay, that might have just been Amy. And now, I will be posting this to catch up if you missed Monday's class. I also, Amy, I muted you just in case you didn't know you were muted. And again, any type of questions, comments, concerns, just let me know while we go through this, and we're gonna rock it out. So we're gonna get started with Salesforce mobile app customization. If you haven't logged in to Trailhead, before, do that now. If you haven't, we'll just do that and we'll cover the rest later. We'll set up a playground as we go along. So let's click on the first link, getting started with the Salesforce mobile app. Again, I'm doing this for a particular reason because these links translate to the chat record of this training. And that allows me to use that for when I eventually get some time to build out the salesandtechnology.com training tool that we've built in for that. So let's talk about what we're going to do. Getting started with the Salesforce mobile app, we want to be able to name the benefits of using the app, which is clear. I'm going to talk about those things. If you haven't downloaded and hooked up the app to your developer account, or Raj, this is for you. If you haven't set up a developer account for yourself, I highly recommend it. It's a fully functional enterprise grade version. When you go there, go to sign up, not log in, sign up. It creates an account. You get the same thing in Trailhead Playgrounds, but a little different. The developer code is a little different. It's a different edition of Salesforce. So just sign up for an edition on your own, hook up your mobile app, try these things out, practice it. You can literally run your business off of that free developer app for a little while. The storage space is light, but you can do it. It's important to customize the mobile app because your users need to conduct your business your way. And the only way that's going to happen is if you customize the app to make it more efficient and effective, the type of work that your users do. And again, if you haven't downloaded the app, go to your App Store or your Play Store and look for Salesforce and just download the Salesforce mobile. It just says Salesforce. It used to be Salesforce with the number 1. They've taken the 1 away from most things. You'll still see the 1 somewhere in there. And then we'll talk about your working environment for the app itself. So what's the promise of mobile? So you've been hiding under a rock. Yeah, I'm going to get my mobile device because why not? Why wouldn't I want my mobile device, right? So here's my mobile device. And let me flip it open. And then you can see my Salesforce. Hold on, it's weird. There it is. See it? There's my Salesforce app right on the front page. Can I hit it without? I can't even do that. It's backwards. So I got my Salesforce app running. And this is the new app. How do I know it's the new app? Well, and I don't have do I have a thing that shows my screen? No. It's the new app because the menu items are on the bottom. Let's see if that's going to white balance out. See the menu items on the bottom? That means you got the new app. And I haven't really even used it all that much, but it is the Lightning experience. So the Lightning experience is just a more natural, evolved way to interact with the data. You've got a chatter feed. You've got any access to all of your, I'm not going to keep doing that. That's ridiculous. You got access to all of your data. So you can update records. Here's the other best part of the mobile app. And I'm pitching it. I'm not reading from the screen. But the best part of the mobile app is that I've got dinosaurs that use Salesforce. Matthew, Blake Cooper at Cooper Music. All of his guys are older than the pianos they sell. But they love the mobile app because if they look up a lead on the mobile app, they can click log a call. And they can hit the little, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to go to leads. See, I had a lead today. Who was my lead I'm looking for? I want to look for Gail Sherman. Oh, she's a contact now. I'm going to log a call. Let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to log a call. I already did this, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. It pops up with how'd the call go. There's a little microphone button on your phone. Dinosaurs love this. When I say dinosaurs, I mean people older than Julia. And it said, look what it did. Maybe you can see it. it said, it's just picking up the words that I'm saying. So I can just type in notes anytime and it just picks it up, knocks it out. It can't get easier than that. It cannot get easier than that. It cannot get easier than that. So you can use the phone while you're at your desk, while you're on the road, wherever you want to do that, because and they're adding more and more features and benefits to it. All right, I'm done selling. So the mobile app comes with everything. It's plug and play ready. It's cross-platform, so it runs on Android and iOS. I even think, I don't know, I think there's a BlackBerry app that goes with it, and I think there's a Microsoft app, but I'm not sure 100%. So if anybody uses any of those two platforms, you know, there you go. It also, so, and that's really good because depending on the texture of your organization, if you don't provide people with a particular mobile device, it gives them flexibility. But it also works offline. So the great thing about it is it doesn't store all your data on your phone. That would be irresponsible, for one. But two, it does work offline. So you can do work, and then when you come back to Signal, it'll automatically synchronize. And again, it works all of your security settings, everything that you set up for the desktop version or the browser version transfers automatically. So, and it's customizable because right out of the, first of all, if your org doesn't use the mobile app or you haven't done any customizations, fine, just do it. Just launch it. Have people start using it because it's simple and it's easy. But it's also customizable too. So when you find out, get feedback, you can make those adjustments. Now, the secret of it is what's called your metadata. This is kind of, they're just promoting and primping. So we haven't gotten into metadata a lot. But when we create customizations, like, custom fields, but also we talked about field level security. We talked about page layouts and how they get assigned. A lot of that information transfers with the mobile app from the desktop to the mobile because the person logging in has the same profile that they did when they logged in on the desktop. They have the same profile, the same security measures, same, features and benefits, all that works. I don't know, don't hold me to it, but some things might not work, but it's mobile. So, well, this question here is a really great question. So, well, if everything that you've customized in the browser or the full app transfers to mobile, why do I need to customize mobile? Well, because you're dealing with a smaller screen and a different way to interface it, right? So think about how you interface with a computer, decades ago. If you had a computer decades ago, it was all keyboard. I remember when somebody in my office in 1988 got a mouse to go with their computer. And that was like, everybody stood around going, ooh, how does the mouse work? It was a big deal, right? Now, I don't know if any of you are keyboard designers, but I'm hoping that somebody designs a one-handed keyboard so I never have to take my hand off the mouse. So I'll literally be like, it's like, and I know gamers, right? So I'm gaming with one hand and typing with the other. Why is that important? Well, because that's how people, one of the secrets of productivity is if you're on the keyboard, learn keyboard shortcuts so that you can stay on the keyboard. Because watch this, I'm on the keyboard, I got to grab the mouse, 1001. Then I got to orient the mouse, find it, 1002. So every time you switch, it costs you a couple of seconds. But in reality, there's even a little bit of lag time from the moment you switch that you got to catch up. So when we talk about productivity, changes slow down productivity, like moving from one spot to another slow down productivity. So mobile is the same kind of thing, right? You move to mobile, I'm now interfacing with my thumbs, with one hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a different interface, and that's why customization is important. there's when I'm out and about, I don't need access to all. I don't want to scroll. I want to give them access to information they need, where and when they need it. That's the philosophy behind Salesforce. By the way, why is that important? Because I've taken the certification test a lot, mainly because, again, I'll do this next month with you guys. One class will be just going through the practice test. It's a 90-minute test. We'll spend the whole 2 hours reviewing and explaining why the questions and answers are the way they are. So I've taken it a lot. And what I can tell you is that the tone of the test, if the test has a tone, like what is it really testing you for? What it's testing you for is that you understand all of the essential elements of Salesforce. That's why it's called Administrator Essentials. If you are setting up all the things you need to consider, if you are setting up new orgs every week, like if your job was to get with a client on Monday and have them up and running by Friday, this is all the things you'd have to go through in order to get it done. And that's kind of the map of the 5-day course when you take it with Salesforce. So I'm kind of weaving in that philosophy, but if you constantly think that way, and you understand the architecture and the setup of Salesforce, then a lot of other things make sense in that frame of reference, through that frame. So a couple of things you can do to customize the mobile app to make it your own is to think about, and this is what you always need to think about. So as you become a consultant, one of the things you need to do, you need to be an administrator. You don't need to be a developer, but you need to be a point and click developer. But you also need to think like a business analyst. And I'm going to say you need to think like a trainer, because one of the jobs of an admin is to actually train. Now, I'm a professional trainer. And when I train Salesforce, I identify every click and the movement from one click to another, because that's how the user is going to have to be indoctrinated in the system. And I should try to map as natural a behavior to what they had before to what the system provides now. So there's certain things you can do for people with quick actions, the compact layouts, and the navigation through the system. Now, you don't have to worry about all that right now. If you're new to the mobile app, it's going to take a little time, which is why I said, even if you're not in sales, you should endeavor to run your life off of that developer account as much as for real. Try to customize it for your life. Now you're going to run out of space, but you can then take that information and then eventually just buy your own essentials account for $25 a month and get to do some of the same kind of customizations and literally run your life. So, well, we're going to do this through one of the training frameworks that's built into Trailhead called My Dream House Realty. So it's a fictional real estate company with fictional people that are consistent throughout. So the more you get to know these little fictional example companies, the better you can kind of think about things. So, all right. They've got 75 brokers, which are really agents. They're busy. They're on the go. They're meeting with people. And one of them, D'Angelo Cunningham, is the admin. That's you. So whenever you see somebody refer to admin, you got to put your admin hat on, put yourself inside that company. That's who you are. That's your job. So he did his homework. He observed people. He talked to managers. He talked to the stakeholders. He did a few ride-alongs, and he started to see how people work, so he could mirror how people work to how you set up their Salesforce instance. So some of the things that people can do mobily in Dreamhouse Homes is they can add a new prospective home buyer, right? They meet somebody at a Starbucks, they meet somebody at a Chili's or an Applebee's or a restaurant that serves good food wherever they're at, and scheduling a new, so you can, how do you enter that stuff quickly? Right? You got to emulate, you got to do it enough so that you work yourself through the uncomfortable mechanism of entering in the data to where it's mechanical to when it's natural, and then it's easy. And then you can make improvements on it. Scheduling a new showing, and then entering a buyer's feedback after they've seen a house. Like I'm in the mobile, I can capture that information. And the reason we do all that in a CRM is because our memory as human beings sucks. And if you don't believe me, at your next reunion of any type, families, class, whatever, go ask somebody about a situation you remember, and ask them about the details. I guarantee you they're going to remember different stuff. It's almost going to be like they're at a different family reunion. Like, how did you remember that? Did you grow up in a different family in the room next to me or in the other side of my bedroom? What happened to you? So, I'm gonna open this little link up because it's always useful to do that. These little tips are really useful to kind of deepen the information. So again, I'm your trail guide. You got to do these trails and then come back with any questions you have. So there's a mobile rollout that you can do to test your strategy and plan for it. But for the most part, for now, just load it up, log in, and get started. And that's what we do. So welcome, Brian. So the mobile app, typically, you don't even have to worry about the requirements in most cases. Just download the app from the App Store. You're automatically connected to your production org. So in Salesforce, when we talk about your org, we talk about production org versus sandbox. So when you're testing, you typically log into a sandbox to make sure that what you're developing works, doesn't interfere, doesn't break, doesn't stop the flow. And you should always use that strategy as often as you can. There are some, and like I said, you can also log into your Trailhead Playground or your Developer Edition. Now, the reason I had everybody set up with a Developer Edition when they started, it's a lot easier to know your username and password on a Developer Edition than it is a Trailhead Playground, because you don't typically log into a Trailhead Playground from login.salesforce.com. So, and you always log into a developer account from login.salesforce.com. So it just makes your life easier. Now, there are some limitations to mobile. Obviously, not every feature that works in a full-on browser can work in mobile, depending on what it's connected to and other systems and those kind of things, but a lot of them will do it. But you need to learn about which ones do and which ones don't when it gets really technical. Typically, when you hear the screaming and shouting of others, right? And I'll tell you this, if you want to know if what you're doing is important in life, in any part of your life, all you got to do is stop doing it. If you stop doing it and nobody complains, you can just quit doing it altogether. You want to know what your job is at work? Stop doing it. Whatever people ask you for is what you need to be doing, and do a lot more of that. So now that you got it on your phone, you can take it for a little test drive, and then we'll take the quiz, and I'll give you a minute to take the challenge. Any questions? There's a big lot of hoo-hoo about mobile and selling you on it. There's a lot longer than 15 minutes too. So sorry about that. But you know, if you did it on your own, you miss all the great commentary. So I'll give you a minute before we jump into the next part where we actually customize it. But if you would, post in your score, 25 points, 50 points, or 100 points. Those are the only three ones, and then we'll go from there. All right, all right. Is it Thursday already? Is it already 2/20/2020? Oh, today is a palindrome day. Today's date is the same forward as it is backwards. 02/02/02/20.
Okay. I got some on that.
All right, talk about quick actions. Did everybody complete the, everybody knock out the little, you can't see, I can see you. Give me a green check box or red X. or put it in the chat. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you, Gil. All right, Raj, good job. All right, all right, all right. Okay. So I am going, thank you. Some of you are chatting me privately. Thank you for that. Okay. So we're going to make sure you understand the difference between global actions and quick actions. We're also going to make, which are object actions, if you will. Objects, they're located in a different place. We're going to make sure you understand the difference between the two main types of actions. We're going to create a global action. So this is going to be one of those challenges where I think it's going to be a 500-point challenge. Yep. So it's going to be hands-on. So we're going to do the work as we go along. We're going to configure fields in the action layout. We're going to set predefined values for a field on an action layout. Again, you're trying to put the majority of actions as easily in the fingertips of your users as possible. And then we'll add an action to the Salesforce mobile app by editing the global publisher layout, which is a little bit different place. Now look, you're never going to remember all this stuff. Just so you know, you just got to do it and know where to find the help when you need to get it done. I'm just telling you that. So what are quick actions? So they are keys to the mobile kingdom. They're quick actions are really, they have the most potential to make things easy for your users. And what I mean by quick, think about quick action like a little macro on demand. So you click the button and 3 clicks or 10 clicks happen automatically. So they're shortcuts. Or another way is, I mean, so yeah, they allow you to, again, watching the progression of data from one state to another is critical in shortcutting the number of clicks it takes for a user to complete a job. So they've got a couple of built-in actions. They live in the action bar menu, and actually it's going to be at the bottom of the screen. They haven't even updated. No, this is a new one. Perfect. So you've got quick actions along the top, and they're just one tap away. So in order to edit the record, email somebody, create a new task, those kind of things, right? All pretty convenient. But wait, there's more. You can actually create quick actions that are custom to your business processes. So if you've got to collect certain data in a particular order, that's a process. If you don't collect data until a certain time in your conversation with somebody, then that's a process. One of the biggest challenges with administering and designing your Salesforce org is understanding how the majority of work, how the majority of records go from created, edited, to completed, and then reported, right? So you create a record, you edit a record, then you basically complete whatever that is. Recording and reporting is the job analysis work that you have to do in order to put that back into technology. Every action, you can create its own little page layout. And, you know, like Matthew, if you're, you know, if you want to have a, let's say you're working on a project, whatever project it is, and you might have 3 different types of projects you're working on. One quick action may give you fields laid out in a way that best fits the conversation for project A, type A, and another one that fits the project type B. So depending on how the conversation flows, I want you to think of the word journey, not the band, but the path you take in every conversation. What I love about Salesforce is that it really does capture data as the conversation occurs if you understand the flow of the majority of your conversations, right? And that's corporate America right there. Corporate America is about standardizing, systematizing, bringing efficiency to processes so that you can improve profitability. right? Because you spend less time and effort getting the same thing done. Craftsmanship is about whatever it takes to get it done. So you can also pre-populate fields based on other data or the type of thing that you're doing, because you already know it's going to include certain things. So those are they're really 3 features. That's a good thing to watch for. There are 3 powerful features. There's shortcuts plus a page layout plus predefined information. That's what a quick action does. It's stuff you would have to do manually. Now, if you're the person in charge, or you're talking to the person in charge, before you start laying out what you think quick actions are, part of the crawl, walk, run philosophy that we have here at Sales and Technology Consultants is we want to watch you do it manually the hard way first. Because when you get good at doing it the hard way, you're going to develop patterns of behavior that are more easily translated based on real experience than imagination into actual data workflow. Does that make sense? So a lot of people over-design Salesforce before they use it. And so that ends up creating a bad user experience, and then adoption becomes really hard. So user adoption is the goal, but you don't want to make it too easy on people to start with. Better to lay it out where everything's 100% point and click manual entry the hard way, and then watch how the majority of your users work. Watch how the more effective users work, how the least effective users work. And then you can eliminate steps that improve efficiency for all your users, because you're really helping out the slowest ones get faster, and the faster ones will get even faster. So let's talk about what type of quick actions there really are. There are, and I know you can read all this stuff, they're global and object specific. So think about what global is. When you look at Salesforce, if you have Salesforce open right now, do I have Salesforce open right now? Hold on a second. I do have Salesforce open right now. Let me bring it over here. When you look at Salesforce, that white box along the top is your global navigation. That's your global controls. It's everything. I call it global. I don't know if there's even a name for it. To me, it's your global highlights panel. Everything happens below that line. Everything happens within that umbrella. Everything's contained below the URL, right? Everything's contained below the URL is all your Salesforce. Nothing else happens outside of Salesforce, right? And then as you go into each one of these tabs, you're creating a little bubble within a bubble. Those are each of your objects. That's how you know the difference between global and objects, that blue line. So that blue line right there, and they made it visually more appealing so you can see, hey, this is a subset of everything. How do I know? Because there's a visual representation that says it is. Right? It took almost 2 years to get it this dark blue. Everything used to be that color blue in the back. So they made it even darker. So as you change objects, things change in there, but the context of everything is global, then object, then list, then record, and then component, right? That's the hierarchy of nesting of information. So I'm going to close that, roll him out. All right. So you got it? All right. Here's our use case for what the work we're going to do in this exercise. The way to think about global actions is, I'm checking my chat. Amy's the only one with her camera on, so I thought, and I have her half covered up. So I wanted to make sure you weren't waving at me, because I sometimes miss your chats. Not just yours, Amy, everybody's. All right. Here's another little tip with CRM, by the way, and improving or customizing your CRM. You ready for this? Pay attention. Solve one problem at a time. Design one solution at a time. Pick one thing that would be cool and get that done. And then socialize it, let everybody use it, let them get used to it and get feedback, and then go through a process where everybody's good with it until they get used to it. Then solve the next problem. Does that make sense? And you want to, if philosophically, You want to think about what is the thing you do all the time. If you fix that one problem, then that gives you the biggest bang for your buck, right? So in this use case, so things you want to do quickly, but not necessarily completely. That's a good way to think about it. So we're going to use the contact object to keep track of prospective home buyers. So one of your brokers is out hosting an open house. They meet a prospective buyer, and she wants an effective way to add that person as a contact without navigating to a specific page or associating the person with other information. That's what a global action is for quick and easy. Get it in so you don't forget it. Now here's the productivity mindset piece of that feature. If you read any productivity expert, the most important step in being productive is the way you capture information. So as you think about your days, you walk around for 16, 18, 12 hours a day, conscious and communicating with other people. Every interaction you have, are you capturing that information? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The question then is, say, how am I capturing that information? If the only capture of information is letting it sit up here, you're in trouble. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be overloaded, and you're going to have burnout, then blackout at some point in time, right? Because you're capturing and containing in your head. So the capture tool is one thing. The containment device is another. So it reminds me of Ghostbusters, right? They'd capture the ghost in that little thing, and then they contain it in the big thing. And then all the ghosts got out at the end or whatever. So if you haven't seen the movie, you can catch me up to date on it. So does that make sense? So I want to capture as much information as I can, but not too much, because I want to get it done quick. And the user can then follow up later with it, but it's already captured. They don't have to worry about where it is or did they miss it, those kind of things. So we want to, D'Angelo wants to customize it and make the process of adding prospective buyers as fast and easy as possible. So he's going to create a new prospect global action to collect that potential buyer's info. He's going to limit the fields to just the essentials like name, number, and email. Don't need anything else. Think about the web pages you go to in the web. Some people say, give me your email. That's it. Just give me your email. And then the next email they send you is give me your name. And then after that, they collect as they go. But they got your email first. They can pester you with emails until they get more information. Other websites you go to, they want the social security number and shoe size of your third born child in addition to everything that happened before that. And you like give up on the process. So whatever is right for that process, you want to make sure you do. We also want to include a custom stage field to indicate that the buyer's current stage and set the default field to prospect so that the user doesn't have to do it, and you can filter on that data to easily find those records to do your follow-up. So follow along as we whip this up. So we're going to go, if you haven't done so already, let's scroll down. It's all going to be good practice to the challenge, because in the challenge, I'm going to retake this challenge. You're going to launch your playground. Then I go back to the challenge. Using my quick navigation on the right. And we're going to go into the contact object manager. So I'm going to go, has everybody got their org open? Then you click on the setup and then icon and then choose setup. Then I'm going to click on my object manager. And because a contact is a person instead of a lead, for whatever reason, they chose contact. I like contacts better than lead. I'm now in the contact. Now I'm going to go to fields and relationships and click new. So again, if you need, the steps are right here. We'll go to fields and relationships, and I'm clicking new. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm capturing any custom information that I need. And now I'm saying that, hey, there's a stage of a contact. You know, a contact is, Amy, do you have a question? But you just moved. I saw a glimmer in the eye. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna create a new field called stage so that I can track. I think it's gonna be a pick list value. Yep, pick list. I'm gonna call this stage. And I'm gonna enter the values on my own. I think, yes, yes, yep, there we go. So these are my values. Now, why don't I just let the user type it in? Anybody want to take a guess why I don't want to let the user just type it in? The reason is humans are not consistent. So I'm gonna, right, humans will type in interested, prospect, hot, annoying, whatever, anything else, and it creates collectible data that you can't collect records because of. We're going to create a simple little pick list field and then save it. Now, and we're going to leave it as that. Do we need to put in the default value? Nope, we're not doing default value. Okay, cool. Click next when you've done added those values. And here I'm going to do you a favor. If you didn't like me before, I'm going to just post those values in the chat. So all you have to do is copy and paste them. I'm going to make it visible for all profiles. Now remember, I'm showing you this because this leads to our security model. This is the lowest level of security. What I mean by lowest level, the most specific place that you can control visibility of anything. Right here, it's called field level security. So we're doing this while we're creating the field. So field level security is about what fields you're going to let which profiles see or edit. Right? If it's visible, they can edit it. If you say nope, but the analytics cloud can only be read only, then that anybody that has that profile can only read that field. But if you say that, look, an authenticated website profile never needs to see it, then that field can't be used by any user logged in. Does that make sense? So again, I'm just going to make them all visible, but I'm using this as a moment to pre-train you on the security model so you understand what's happening. Now that I've created that field, I can add it to any one of my existing page layouts for that object. So an object is a table of data. If the page layout is how I present that data, and if I have multiple page layouts, it's because I can assign that page layout to a particular profile. So someone in marketing may need to see the contact information differently than somebody in sales or somebody in support or somebody generic, the masters, the plain one, right? So as you create customizations for different groups of users, you can assign fields that you create to those, or just, this is what I'm training you on, is that page layouts can be assigned to profiles, and it changes the way you display the data given the type of person you interacting with that data. Again, very customizable. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, now we're going to create a global action. So the first thing we did was we created a specific field for a contact that says they could be in different stages of my relationship with them. So I just put that. They could be a prospect. I could be showing them stuff. They made an offer. They're closing on an offer, and then I'm done with them. They either bought or didn't buy. If they bought, then they stay, you know, they probably should be customer at that point. All right. what is this walk through it thing? Hang on, let me see what that is. Y'all know what that is? That didn't work. All right. So we're going to go to actions. Now notice this is a global action. So we're not going to do it at the contact, at the object level. We're doing it at the global level. So anywhere I'm at, I can take this action. So I'm going to go to my setup. We're back in setup. I'm going to click on the home tab. And in the quick find, I'm going to type action. When I do that, it'll filter out every option except the ones that contain action in it. See, you got a lot of actions. You got feed actions, next best action, workflow actions, blah, blah, blah. There it is, global action. So why did I do it that way? Well, A, the instructions told me to. But B, it gives you an idea of all the kind of actions you can take, but also how the quick find works. Is another reminder navigation. So we're going to go to global actions. And then we're going to click a new action. And we're going to call this eventually new prospect. So as I read ahead to prepare, you're like, Dominic, just type it in. It's new prospect. Well, look, I'm a human too. I make mistakes. I try to use dumb computers for dumb stuff that they're going to send me errors if I don't do it right. So in this action, we're going to create a record. And you could do other, let's look at all the things it can do. So we're going to create a new action. Notice the action types. We could send an email, log a quick call, something or two custom things, or some type of lightning component that does whatever the lightning components do. We're just going to create a new record. What kind of new record we're going to create? We're going to create a new contact record, but you could create any kind of record you want. Create a new task, a new order, any of those things. We're going to create a contact. What is that? I'm going to leave the standard label type out, and I'm going to give it a custom label of new prospect. The label is what's presented to people, and the name is what the computer knows it's called. Anytime you see name, it's the API name. API stands for something, can't remember what it stands for now. Remember, description, we always add a description to tell our future self what we know now, but we're going to forget later. But in training, we just remind ourselves to always put in a description. But I'm done with this, so all I'm going to do is hit save. Now, I haven't really done much yet other than created this action. So now I need to so it's going to create a new contact, but it's just going to bring up all the contact fields by default, like name, address, industry, boss, all that kind of extra stuff that I don't need. I just need your name, your phone number, and your email, because I'm a real estate agent. I'll follow up with you later. Get out of here, buy this house, or get out somewhere else. All right. So now we're going to customize the action layout. Everybody good with this? Anybody need time to get it done? Okay. Don't mistake my talking for just talking. I'm giving you time to complete these exercises while we do it, because you got the guide right in front of you. And remember, if you haven't split your screen, let me do this now. If you haven't split your screen, restore your screen. The trail will, what's the word I'm looking for? Respond to your size. And then this one, I'm going to do the same thing. And my screen will kind of respond to the layout I'm giving it. So just managing screen real estate right now. So now we're going to customize the action layout. And here we're going to go here. I want to eliminate a few fields and make sure the custom stage gets added to the layout. So now I'm going to go to my, there it is. It already laid it out. It's already brought me to the page, the layout editor. So again, it's just a little page that I'm creating. Just like the other page editors. So I can pick the fields. Remember, this works just like a page layout editor. Any field in bold is not on the page. Any field that's dim is already on the page. So I'm going to take out the account name. Notice that one's dim. There's my account name. I can click and drag it back to the palette. Or like title, I could take title out. I could just click the remove. When I hover over the field itself, I could just click the remove icon and take that away too. Now the field that I just created, stage, while it's on the standard page layouts that I added when I was creating the field, it does not add it to the custom layout. A quick action layout or any other compact layouts. It doesn't do all those. Fewer than 5 fields keeps everything on one screen, which is good. So now that I'm done, I'm going to click save. Now, again, one of the other features is that you can set predefined values. So in this case, we're now in the new prospect, right? We're still in that new prospect global action. And notice I've got a related list. This is classic-y. I've got a related list. I know that because it's a link at the top. And if I hover to discover, it'll bring that little bottom of the page up to my mouse pointer right there, to which I can then simply and easily move my mouse inside and click new. I could also scroll down to the bottom of the page. And I'm going to pick which field do you want to pre-populate. So when I'm creating a new, I don't want to set, when I was creating the field, I had the thought, why don't I just set the field to prospect? Because that would affect all my fields in the entire system. So, I mean, every page layout, every time I click a new contact, it's going to predefine the value for that field, and it wouldn't be appropriate everywhere. But in this quick action, I'm doing this quick action specifically for a context of, I want to add you quickly because I'm at an open house. Boom, you're a new prospect. You know, if you really want to make it specific, you could call it, instead of new prospect, you could call it open house visitor, new open house new visitor, because you have visitors at open house, because that's your company's lexicon. That's the words you use to describe things. So the words you use throughout your organization is called the lexicon or your jargon. So whatever jargon you use in the real world, when you're customizing Salesforce, remember to bring that jargon in, because that'll help people understand what that data is for. If you call it something completely different than what they call it regularly, you're going to get lack of adoption. People aren't going to get it because they don't know what you're talking about. All right, so now I'm going to pick a specific value, but because it's a pick list value, I can pick which value it is. We got stage and then prospect and then click save. So it's very simple, right? We gave it a name. We gave the button, the global action, a name. We added the fields that are going to show up on the quick action. And now we also predefined some values so that it's easier for people to just click, click, dunsy, dunsy. Questions, comments? Now, we created an action, but it doesn't live anywhere. If we go back to our home screen and we click on our global actions button, that's that little plus sign at the very top in the global navigation component highlights panel. There's no new prospect. We got campaign, event, task, contact, logger call, email, opportunity, case, lead. Where's my prospect? I just created a button. Well, button boy, we got to add it. Salesforce doesn't make it up. I know, I wish it did, but. So the global publisher layout, this is the global actions here. So it's how is that action going to be listed in the mobile app, right? It's going to be one of the early ones. It's going to be something you have to click to. So if you want them to create that new prospect directly from the feed, let's add our new action to the publisher layout. So I'm going to go back to my home tab in the setup menu. And instead of action, I'm going to type publisher. So my publisher layout is that part of the tool that basically where you put your buttons. All right. I'm going to click edit next to my global layout. That's this. And then it translates to the mobile. And you can see I've got quick actions and mobile and lightning actions. Which one do you think I'm going to do? Of course, mobile. Now, when I go to mobile, we've already done it, I think. Yeah, we've already, this is a little tight on space, so it's harder to see than it needs to be. If you didn't see all the little buttons in here, that's what these are, these little quick action buttons. If you didn't see it, then you might want to revert this back to defaults, and then you can click the gear and customize it. So by default, mobile and lightning come with quick actions already installed. And if you want to change those up, you got to customize it, which we've already did in some places. So now, we want the new prospect button to be our very first action. We want it, we know that this is a high priority action. It happens a lot during open houses. That's when they're mobile, otherwise they're in the office. So whenever they're in a contact record, they want to be, or whenever they're in their mobile app, they're typically at an open house or out showing stuff. But when I'm out showing, I'm typically not engaging new prospects. But every time I'm out at an open house, that's all I'm doing. So it's a high priority. You got to do a little matrix, right? Where, when, how often. So I got my new prospect as the first item. And then I'm going to click save. That's all I did. Just added it. So now, will it be here? Nope. Got to refresh my page. Let me refresh my page. Because Salesforce doesn't upload changes as you make them. It only uploads them as they get loaded on the page. I hope this works. So I don't look at that. What? All I had to do is refresh. And there it is. Questions, comments, concerns. Now, if you go to your mobile app and you're logged into your mobile app and you hit the menu button, new prospect is going to be right there on the first button. So again, those actions are when I'm opening up my record, there it is. I want it to be right there. All right, now let's see what the challenge is. So I want to create a global quick action for adding a new opportunity. Boom, new opportunity. Amy, just between us, like new Salesforce setup, bam, one button, pulls in all the information we need, we're good to go. So we're going to go back to setup and type in global actions. I know you could have typed in action, but I didn't want to sort through all that stuff. There's my global actions. I'm going to create a new action. I'm going to call a new offer. I'm going to create a record on the opportunity object. Why? Because that's the only place I make money. Again, one of the philosophies you have to adopt is that computers are dumb. They only do exactly what you tell them. And if you find, so Raj, oh, you weren't able to drag it. Well, when we get to this, you'll see. If you weren't able to drag it to the mobile section, oh, you got it. I know, yeah, it's 6 clicks. It's fine. It's always a little squirrely. Just got to muscle through it. If ever you find yourself doing the same thing over and over again, that's when the computer can take over, right? Because it doesn't require any thought to do A, B, C, X, G, R. You just got to go A. It's just follow the dots, right? It's like simple. I'm going to save that. And go to my page editor. It should bring up right away. Yep. I only want, let's see, name, date, stage, and amount. I don't need the account name. I don't need my next step. And again, I can click and drag them. Just takes a little bit of foo. There's my account. So opportunity name, close date, stage, and amount, and hit save. And now I'm going to edit the layout. Let's see, here's my new offer. Well, that's what I just did. I just edited the layout. There's my page layout. Let me hit save. Now I'm going to edit my predefined field section, which is down here. And my field name is going to be stage. And my specific value is going to be qualification. Now, you notice on the bottom of fields, you've got a little formula editor. So when we get into formulas, here's the deal. Formulas are hard. Did everybody get that? If you're good at formulas now in any other system, you'll pick up on formulas in Salesforce. If you don't know what I'm talking about right now, you need to find somebody who's good at formulas in Salesforce. That's just going to save you about 1,000 hours in your life. Spend 20 hours, talk to Julia. Jazz will find you somebody good at formulas, and you can pay her company and hire that person, and then they'll be fine. Right, Julia? Like, that's your deal. If you're good at formulas, you do them all the time. Why? Because nobody else is good at formulas. They're coming to you. Promote that skill. If you're good at formulas, promote it. I got a guy right now, $65 an hour. He'll do formulas like a wizard. He'll get done in 1 hour what would take me maybe not forever. Like, I don't care how much time I put into it. It may not happen. So anyway, formula editor is there for that. Now that you're done, go ahead and check your challenge. See if you earned the 500 points. Them there 500 points. I wish there was a retake button so I could take the quizzes just like you. And I figured out how to do it. I just forgot to do it. Forgot to do it till I was in it. So I forgot. I got to create a whole new login for this. I didn't do it yet. So, all right, when you check your challenge, let me know. Get the woohoo. And then we'll move on to the next one. So give me a green checkbox when you're done so I know to move on. I don't move too fast. For some of y'all that like me moving at the right speed, I need your feedback to do that. And if you figured out I don't wait for everybody, I just wait for 2 or 3 people. So if you fall behind, it's your fault for not giving me a red X. And if you don't, if Raj, this is for you, but anybody else who didn't pay attention to the last 11 classes, if you on the little Zoom bar, there's a thing that says participants. If you click on the participants on the Zoom bar, there's a little feedback text on the bottom, a green checkbox, a red X, and it changes next to your name. You can say you're going to coffee. You can say taking a break. You can have a clap, a thumbs up, a thumbs down, whatever you want, and then you can clear them. All right. Everybody good? Some of this is very similar to what we did in the last module, which I have not posted yet because the file got uploaded somewhere else, but I'll get to it. All right. We did a global quick action. So the global quick action operates globally. It's not tied to any tab or tied to any specific page or tied to a record. That's object specific. Global works everywhere. It's kind of an overlay. It's global. Global search searches everything. Global header gives you access to everything in the header globally, right? So when you look at the global header right at the top, you have access to all your data, all the items, all the features, all the setup, right? Global. Cross the line, specific. Hit the tab, now you're starting to nest into what you're looking at. And that's important because that's kind of the whole architecture of Salesforce is built around that one philosophy. So now we're going to do object-specific actions, which is going to work. We're going to do basically the same thing, but just inside instead of the setup menu for everything, we're going to do the little setup menu just for the object. So you can add an action to a page layout. So when someone's on the page and they want to do something, you can make it happen. So, and we're going to test it in the mobile app. If you haven't logged in your mobile app, we can test it there too. So you should be pretty good with this so far, understanding that what you're doing is translating to your org. And by the way, if you want to test it on your mobile, does anybody want to test it on their mobile having trouble logging into their org? If you are, give me a green checkbox and I'll stop and show you how to find your username and password for your org. I think I'm going to do that too while I'm at it. That's a new one. Oh, here we go. Anybody want to? All right, Raj, here you go. So for Raj's sake and everybody else, so I'm in my mobile app. And if you click on your face, whoops. So if you click on your face up at the very top left-hand corner, and let me get in the way. See where it says change, click on my face and then change account. You can have multiple accounts and then all of your logins, all your different orgs, so you can swap different accounts. So there's my winning, is our company one. TNC is my Salesforce instructor one. GPCRM is my full-time job one. And then add new account. I'm going to add new account. And I need to put in my username and password, just like any other login. This is where it gets a little tricky. So while we're in your org in the setup, type user. I'm a user, baby. Because every username in the Salesforce ecosystem is unique. And we're going to go to your user record to find your username. So you can see there's Dominic Kruba, and there's my username. It's a weird username, but it's the way they make it unique. I'm going to copy that address. And then I'm going to type that username in here, and hopefully I'll get it right. If you don't know your password, then you need to go on the browser, type in, so copy your username, go to login.salesforce.com. If you don't know your password, if you haven't set it up, I don't know if I've set it up or not. We'll find out in a minute. Actually, I'm going to do it right now. So it's Dominic X at Playful Raccoon -V74 LLC. I'm going to put in my standard password and see if that's it. If it's not it, that means I've never set it up. And typically you don't set up your username and password. So here's what you got to do. Click forgot your password. Type in your username. Then go check your email. You don't even need the login. I don't know why it says go back to the login screen, because you need to go to your email first and only. Now you got to go to your email, and there's going to be a link to reset your password. And really, when it comes to a Trailhead Playground, you're not actually you're logging in through something else, so it logs you in automatically, so you don't know your password. You got to set up your password. So now I'm in my, I'll show you where I'm at right now so you guys can see it. Now I'm in my inbox. finish resetting your password. And when you get this big, ugly URL, it's only good for a couple hours. So click it now. What did we lose? We lost Raj. Oh no, Raj. You got to put in the city you were born. Oh, I must have had a. It doesn't. Welcome back, Raj. Nope. Huh. If that doesn't work, then I'm not logging in. I thought it would. All right, well. Yeah, it's a one-shot deal. It didn't work, so I'm not going to load it up in mobile. I got mine loaded, but that's how you do it. Raj, you kind of left the playground. Did you get what you need to reset your password? I don't know if he's back yet. Okay. So if that's the process you got to go through to reset your password. To actually get your password, and for some reason, I'm not going to be able to log in at all. So forget about it. All right. You ready? So now we are going to let's see. So we're gonna create an object specific action, and you can update records. You got it. Okay. You can update records. You can create records that are automatically associated with that information. So like a new opportunity, right from a contact record, boom, boom. So when you expose object specific actions in the mobile app, you don't add them to the global publisher like we did in the last unit. Instead, you make them available by editing the object's page layout. So you'll see these in action, pun intended, as you walk through the steps. Okay, so here we are in the scenario. So D'Angelo did a ride along because he's observing reality first before he creates it in Salesforce, which is, by the way, just a good strategy. He said brokers are spending a lot of time showing properties to prospective buyers and managing their schedule. He wants to give the brokers a fast way to schedule new showings in the Salesforce mobile app, so he'll create an action that will appear on the contact detail page. So to simulate this use case, you need to build a few things in your own org first. So we got to prepare the org for the data we're about to collect and create. How do you know which home to show? So we're going to create a custom object called property. Now you guys can't do this in the Essentials edition, but in Professional and above you could. So I need to create a record called properties. So I'm going to go through the whole process of creating a custom object and all custom fields, almost all custom, some standard, but all custom fields. So let's start the process. I'm going to close this down a little bit that way. I'm in my setup home. Why is my object manager not here? Sometimes things get weird. I just click again, open it up to it's not weird. There's my object manager. You might be asking, where did it go? I don't know. I got it back. What do I care? Okay, so we're going to create a new object. Remember, an object is just a table of data. It's just the Salesforce name for it is object. We're going to click create. We're going to create a custom object. Now, this create custom object from spreadsheet, that's a new feature that just came out in from Salesforce Winter 20 release, which basically it copies all of the column headings as new fields. It kind of interprets what the data is and all 9 yards. And I saw it demonstrated. I've never used it because I've been spending my time in the Essentials edition, and that shit doesn't exist. So this one's going to be called property. And my plural is properties. It does not start with a vowel sign. All right, let me make sure I don't miss anything because I tend to. So my object name is called property. Oh, so now my optional features, I'm going to allow activities. Now, these are permissions that are available on any object. They're all available on standard objects because that's how Salesforce built it, and it's standard and it's built in. You can't change it because it's standard. But here you get to choose. So it's not on the test, but it's worth paying attention to. Are you going to want to report on this activity? How many did you get? Then you got to allow reports. Do you want to track changes in the fields? That's called field history tracking. Do you want to allow that? It's not doing it. And do you want to allow this stuff to happen? Like, do you want these records to show up in Chatter? So where, you got to make sure, where are you going to use this in the whole scheme of thing, not just the mobile? For this, we are just going to keep it as instructed because what I've discovered in the trails, you don't follow the instructions exactly, you got to go back and redo your work because it's testing. It can only test exactly pass or fail. It's a pass or fail test. So I'm just pointing it out to you so that you know it and you can see it. All right, so again, do you want to allow search? None of that stuff matters in here. All we're doing is selecting allow activities, and then I'm going to click save. Now, one of the things that happens when you work with wizards, and we did this in Import Wizard, right? Remember, wizards have special powers. They do certain things for you at the time they're doing it, and then they disappear, right? So when you create an object, at least in Classic, you could actually invoke the tab creator wizard. This one doesn't have it now anymore, so I'm bummed. All right, so we're going to go to the next step, and we're going to go to the quick find box. I don't think there's a quick find box in here. Nope. So we're going to click home. It's actually missing a little step. It just throws me off when little steps are missed. So quick find box, you have to know to click home. So if you didn't, you got to click home. We're going to type in tabs. And then we're going to select tabs. We're going to create a new tab. And we're going to call this one. The object is going to be property. Now, we'll click next. Oh no, tab style, we're going to look at that. And then we're going to look for the real estate sign. It's alphabetical, so you just go to R, alphabetical. So you got to click that little icon. Again, that little icon and that color scheme only shows up in Classic, but you still need to do it for Lightning. Lightning's blue, white, and gray. I'm going to click next. Remember, you put a description in there in real life, but in training, we just remember to put a description there in real life. We'll leave all the defaults on, and then add to all the custom apps and click save. Now we can customize that event object. So showing is a kind of event. But D'Angelo doesn't want to use standard events for showing because users need to enter extra information about those showings, like the related property and the buyer's feedback. So the best way to handle this is with a new event record type that has its own page layout. So we're going to create a page layout specifically for showings that think about the kinds of appointments you have, right, in life. Some are just something on your calendar, but others there's something different you're going to be collecting information on. So you create a different kind of page layout for those kind of events than the kind of events that are different. I don't know, it's like a showing versus a lunch meeting or something else, right? All right, so in the object manager, we're going to go back to the object manager, and we're going to do something here called on the event. So remember, there's events and tasks, right? And objects. There's no activity. Oh, there is. Okay, that's something. It's captured something else. So I was wrong. But there are different types of activities. One is, so this is basic standard stuff. There's two kinds of activities. Things that happen on a calendar and things that happen on a list. Things that happen on a calendar are called events. Things that happen on a list are called a task. They either have happened they're either fixing to happen, they're scheduled to happen in the future, or they've already happened in the past. Who did we lose? We lost somebody. Oh, we lost Brian. Brian had to take off. And if it's an event or a task that's happening in the future, it's incomplete, open. And if it's already happened or is completed, then it's a past activity, part of your activity history. Then we're going to select event. So we're just going to work on events. We're going to create a different kind of event. So we're going to create a new page layout. So the standard event layout, right, is date, time, this person, all that stuff. We're going to create a new one. And anytime you create a new page layout, you don't have to create it from scratch. You actually create it from an existing page layout. So we're just going to create one from the layout, and we're going to call this the showing layout. So I can collect data about that event specific to a property showing. That makes sense? So we just created it. I'm going to click Save. And now I'm going to go to this thing called record types. And you might be asking yourself, what's a record type? Let me explain it to you. We're going to get into this more as we get into customization of fields. So think about what we're doing right now. When you think about a calendar event, it's one type of event. A record type, think of all the events in that object. We're now saying that there's another kind of event. It's called property showings. It's an event, so I don't want to rebuild the event object just to handle properties. I'm creating an object within an object because it's similar, but a little different. All right, so I'm going to create a new record type. So I clicked on record types, I'm clicking new. I'm going to call this showing. The name will pass through. I'm going to click, go all the way to the bottom. So this is another thing it goes back to security. Now that I'm creating all right, let's say we're talking about milk, and you got a grocery store and you've got milk. Remember when there was just milk, came from a cow, you drank it or you didn't drink it, that was it. Now you got milk, but you've got skim milk, fat-free milk, low-fat milk, chocolate milk, forget almond and all that stuff, right? They're all milk the different types of milk. You got to categorize them differently. But maybe everybody doesn't get access to all of it. So in the security model, when you create a record type, you can also assign record types to different profiles. This is what we're doing right now. We're going right past it. But we're making every profile, every user will have access to this property showing record type. But if you're an administrator, you don't need to, you're not showing property. If you're an accountant, you're not showing property. If you're, you know, you're never doing these things. So why would I make it available to you? Right, you just keep it away from those people. Makes their life easier. Right now, in this example, because we haven't really covered record types, we're just gonna let it go and give it to everybody, because who knows, they might all want to show. Now I have to pick a page layout. I got a regular, normal, standard event, and then I created a new page layout just for showings, which I haven't customized yet, but I created it so I can assign it to that record type. So if I'm having a regular meeting for coffee to just talk about all the property you're looking for, then that's one kind of event record. It's going to look like it's designed. But if I'm showing you a property, I want to collect different information. I need to lay the page out differently because I know we're in that stage of our relationship. So I'm going to select the showing layout and apply that layout to all the profiles so that when they look at that record type, they see it based on that page layout. So I'm extending the page layout to match the record type, and I've assigned both of those to the profile. We'll cover that in more detail later on, but just know that that's what we did, and we'll talk about it. Now, we're gonna now we need to customize. We need to customize that showing page layout. Like when I create a new event for showing versus a standard event for like normal, I need to collect different data because it's a different kind of event. So here's where I need to go, and I'm going to create some fields that I can plug into this event record type, like the property, and make sure that I'm getting that data on that field so I don't have to look anywhere else for it. So I am going to go to I'm going to create some lookup fields because I want a property field so a broker can think of it as like the location, but instead of putting in a location that anybody could randomly put in, I want to pick up one of my properties that I know was put in for maybe used for other things, right? So I'm reusing data, not re-entering data. See, that's the difference. So we're going to use a lookup field. So now I'm going to go back to my object manager, and I'm going to go to activity. So I can go to my activity object. And from my fields and relationships tab, I'm going to create a new field. I'm going to create a lookup field for this activity. So I just select the type of field, which is a lookup. Click next. It's related to the property object. So what am I looking up to? I'm looking from an activity, I'm looking up to which property is associated with this activity, right? So I'm going to select the property. That's what I'm looking up to. I'm going to pull in the property record. I'm going to leave the name property because it makes total sense. I'm going to remember to put a description for my future self, although in training I don't have to put it there. And if I need to add any support help text to a user, I would add it there as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click next. I'm going to leave the child name activities. I'm going to make it visible to all profiles. Again, field level. Every time I create a field, I got field level security that I control. and I'm going to add it to all of my page layouts for activities. Now, why did we not create this in the event activity? Well, because I mean the event object instead of the activity object, because the activity object is kind of it's a special thing. It overlays both tasks and events to collect those as both activities. So when you log a call, it all goes into activity. So I'm going to add it to all my page. I don't need it on an event layout, and I don't need it on a task. Why? Because I don't need it. It's only for that showing page layout. So I'm just going to add it to that page and click next. And I'm going to call my related list showings. So the label for the, like my, these are my showings. These are, if I got 5 showings in a day, I want to see all 5. And then I'm going to click save. And if you don't understand it, you will if you do it about 100 more times. Not with the same example, but different examples just like it. So this is your playground to be able to get that done. We did all of that. So now, right, we laid the groundwork. Let's kind of review what we did. We laid the groundwork to create a quick action. The quick action is, hey, Gil, what property do you want to see? I want to see 1111 Virginia Avenue. Awesome. Click new showing with Gil at 1111. Pick the property, saved on my calendar, on Gil's calendar. Everybody knows when and where and we're going. And I didn't have to go type everything in manually like I would on a normal event, because this is a kind of thing that I can shortcut because it follows a very rigid set of data guidelines. So now we're going to create that new quick action on a contact. So I'm on Gil's contact record. He says, I'd like to see a house in Virginia Highlands. From Gil's contact record, I want to click a button and say new showing, so I can gather all of Gil's information automatically, all the which property he wants, because you can only visit one property on one specific date and time, right? So I only need a one-to-one relationship with that. So I'm going to have Gil at this property at this time. I want to make that one click as few clicks as possible. So we're going to go to the object manager again. It's step 1 in this section called create an object specific action. We're going to go to the contact object, because that's typically where you're going to work from for this example, in this scenario. I'm going to go down to buttons. Let's see. They didn't highlight it. Oh, little things that I notice as a trainer. They didn't highlight the click point. But we're creating a new action, so, and it's in the object, so that's how I know it's an object-specific action. And we're going to create a new action. You'll see that? Buttons, links, and actions, new action. So we're going to create a record. The target object is going to be the event. The record type is going to be a showing, because we only have one record type right now. We never went back. By the way, so in that event object, we kind of left it a little jacked up. This is an indicator that I did. I have the master, which is always like the standard, and then I have the new record type called showing. So I might want to go back and create another, instead of using the master, I could create another one called, you know, contract discussion, because you need to bring different stuff to that recipe. I'm going to click showing. And then in the label, I'm going to call it new showing. And then my name is, again, a computer name that takes out the spaces and puts in underscores so my mind can read it. I'm looking at the description field, reminding myself that, yep, in real life, I would put something for my future self, but in class, I can just watch the recording. And then I'm going to click save. So now I got a little page, right? Remember, every action has a little page that it sits on. So I'm going to take out all of that extra stuff that I don't need. like related to. Why? Because I already know what it's related to. I'm just going to click and drag that up. I'm going to take the assigned to out. Why? Because I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to take the name out. So I'm going to fill all that in for me. I know it's a showing. All I need is Gil, the address, and the date and time that we're going to meet there. Boom. Now I got it in one place. Now all I got to do is add which prop. So I'm going to take that property field and add it to the page. Why? Because that's where we're going. That's a lookup field. Remember, we're going to go look up to properties to see which property we're going to meet at. So what's the in real life? Yes, the property should already be in the database. So I'm going to put everything in one column. I'm going to take my blank spaces out. Why? Because I don't need them. And then when I'm done, I'm going to hit save. Yep. Acknowledge the thing and hit yes. Everybody good so far? All right. So let's see. So this is fun. Now, a couple of things. These are all good little notes. All these little notes are always good little tips. Don't remove a required field from the layout unless the field has a default value or you specified a predefined field value for the action, or the field already contains data. For example, in the action updates if the action updates a record, the user entered the required information when they initially created the record. So you don't, so what it's basically saying is required fields are special. They need attention. And the record won't save unless there's data in the required field. So you either have to know that the data already exists, or you predefine what the data is so that data will exist inside the required field. Because even if it's a system requirement or a data validation requirement, in order for that record to save and be a valid record, it's got to have everything required. It's got to have data. So now we're going to predefine some values so that it saves the broker even more time. So in the predefined values list, we're going to click new. And in the field, look, why make them fill out what it is? You know what a showing is. You know if you see showing, it's the same thing. So we're going to say, what do you want it to say predefined? Showing. That tells you everything. That's why it's called a lexicon. It's one word, a jargon. It tells you everything you need to know. So you don't have to add a whole bunch of other words. What did I hit? What did I do wrong? Oh, I got to put, my bad. It's text, so you gotta have, I don't do that very often, right? Who does my formulas? Andy does my formulas. I forget to do it. So I had to put quotes around the word showing. That indicates that it's text. That can fill in the text field called subject with the word showing. Now I can add that action to the object page layout so that when I'm on my mobile device, I got a button to click that says new showing. Now, we're already in the object called contact. So all I really have to do is go to my page layouts and go to my contact layout. So I'm going to make my page a little bigger because this thing kind of gets squished. Notice this time for this page layout, I don't have all the little buttons. I got a big message. So I got to override the standard Lightning and mobile list of actions. I click in the little gear, override it to customize it. And then I go to my quick actions tab. No, mobile and Lightning actions. And then I can add my new showing right to the very beginning. Everybody see that? If you didn't see it, I'll do it again. So I grab my new showing from the palette and I brought it in to the mobile and Lightning actions so that that button shows at the very beginning. So here's the deal with all these buttons. All of these buttons are available-ish, but only so many will fit on a 2-inch wide screen. And if each button is 3/4 of an inch or less, maybe half an inch, only so many buttons will fit on the screen. So then the rest show up in a list when you click more. So this is fast action. So you don't have to put all the buttons at the very front, but that's how they show on the screen, left to right or top down, based on the order in which they're on this little palette here. So you always want your new, most frequently used first. And when you're done, just click save. Now, I can't test it in the mobile app because I'm not logged in, but check this out. If I go to contacts, and I go to one of my contacts, it doesn't really matter. There it is. My quick action, right, moved the email out of the way because I got new showing right there. When I click new showing, right, I can look for my properties. I can add a description. I just put the date, start and end time. And again, could you customize all that stuff? Heck yeah. But check it out. Because let's do my property. So I'm going to add a new property called the new property 2193. Description. I might not even need a description, right? I hit save. Now I've created an activity with this contact. So when I look at my related list, did I add that to the page layout? I did not add it to the page layout yet. So I'll do a quick one for you. Who did we lose? We lost Amy, Gil, Jazz, Raj. Lost my mind. Matthew lost Matthew. So if I go to my contact layout, what I didn't put on there, the related lists, was my showing. Maybe it's there anyway. Let's see. Pets WLR. Oh yeah, there it is. Showing. What am I talking about? It's one of those lists. So now when I go to that, it's a showing related to that contact. Boom. It's on my calendar. Probably need to put the contact name on there. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, the last one, and then we're already almost done. So let's keep this party going. Here's our last use case. After you finish showing the property, you want to get the buyer's opinion about what they liked or didn't like. So you want some feedback. So we're going to go back to the object manager. So we're gonna create some fields to collect feedback. I'm gonna go to my activity object. I'm gonna go to fields and relationships. I need to collect new data. I have the fields of data to collect for it. I am going to copy the name feedback. So I'm going to collect this field called feedback. This is going to be a text area field, which is basically a text field that's a little longer. It's 255 characters by default. Click next. Make sure it's visible to all profiles. I don't need feedback on every event, and I surely don't need feedback on my task because I'm the only one typically doing it. And then I'm going to hit save. And when you're done, you should be able to click the challenge. All right, so here's my last thing for this challenge. And the object manager for accounts. So I'm going to go to object manager for accounts. If I go to the page layout for the account layout, if I go to my mobile and lightning actions section, and I want to make sure that a new contact, I have a new contact. Where is it? There it is. If I didn't see it, I just double click it. It makes it yellow. I click and drag it to the very first. That's what it's testing for. Come on now there, Boogie. Come on. Takes a little bit of mouse foo. Click save. Earn the 500 points. Let me know when you got it. Now there's 2 modules left, about 30 minutes. We're not going to do them today. What I'd like you to do is on your own, go ahead and complete those 2, but we'll pick up, that way we'll be able to pick up faster next time. But let's take a few minutes to kind of just make sure everybody's caught up. Jazz, awesome job. So any feedback for today's session? Raj, how was your first session with us? Going through this with a trail guide. Was it useful, helpful? What's your feedback?
Yeah, I think it was useful. I mean, there was a couple points where I had to play catch up, but yeah, I think it was good overall.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Anybody else have anything they want to say? So we're going to start with compact layouts and then customized navigation. Oh, that went to Raj. Oops, instead of everybody. Hang on, let me go back. I want everybody to get it. Plus, I'd say give it a shot. Oh, I didn't type it right. There you go. Then we'll start with the compact layouts. Because again, compact layouts, again, are smaller layouts for different reasons. You can place them in those different small places. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys on Monday, 4 o'clock. We're going to keep motoring through. Little by little, we're going to get it done. We'll finish this and then start phase 3 out of many more phases that I have to update that stuff. Anything anybody wants to say before we go? Thanks, Jazz.
Thanks, Tom. Have a good weekend.
You too. Is it already? All right, it's already the weekend. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Julia.
See ya.
See you. Bye, Raj. Thanks for being here. Gil, thank you for being here. Amy, as always, thank you for your support and your superior contribution.
Yeah.
To this class.
Yeah.
We can always cut this off the end of the video. We'll fix this in post. Say goodbye, Pearl. Put Pearl's face on there. Pearl. There she is.
There she is.
There's our mascot.
Hi. Hi.
You didn't like what happened in Salesforce, but give them a Pearl.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Raj, thanks a lot. We'll see you at the next Salesforce Saturday and next class. Feel free to jump back in.
Thanks, Gail.
Trying to find my Zoom meeting controls.